I made a bad decision this period. I messed up, Joe. Then I'm kind of thinking, it was his fault. His fault.
Ouch.
That was not a good period.
0 in the live well from the front of the boat.
In that second quarter, not a bass was boated.
Not a bite.
Welcome back to Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing. I'm Joe Thomas here with referee Mark Randolph, and the second half is now underway, and Dave Lefebre's in control of the boat. He traveled 10 minutes north on Chickamauga Lake. He's already back in that shallow creek where he caught his stringer in the first quarter. Now, if you just joined us, here's a look back at our first half action. Dave Lefebre took control of the boat in the first quarter, and after a slow start, found his groove. While both he and Bryan Thrift landed 2 keepers each midway through the period, Lefebre did most of the damage with just minutes remaining, boating 2 more good fish to jump into a commanding lead. But that was just the beginning. Lefebre's strategy of running to the back of a shallow creek made the run out treacherous for Thrift, who ended up stuck on a sandbar. At the half, Dave Lefebre has 4 good fish weighing approximately 15 pounds, while Bryan Thrift managed only 2 fish weighing roughly 5.5 pounds. Boom! Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing requires a ton of strategy. We all know that. But my question now, as we've reached the semifinals, is how much do you give up to advance to the finals? Or do you save a little bit back just in case you get there? Right now, I want to take it over to our local expert and UMF veteran, Andy Morgan, to find out what he thinks.
Joe, you make the semifinals. Do you save anything? You burn it all? You try to catch all you can catch? My strategy, I catch all I can catch. Especially here on Lake Chickamauga, somebody's going to catch a big fish. 7, 8, 9 pound fish is very, very possible. Do you save anything? No, you do not.
Fish on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that fish was streaking and it was a big one. He couldn't even catch up to it.
I started hitting some of the mud that I hadn't fished yet and lost a really good 3.5 pounder. And then I eased up there and I saw its bed. That was the first time. I felt like they were spawning, but that's the first time I saw one.
God almighty. Another one pulled off.
That wasn't I ended up losing another one that was a keeper, but it wasn't a big one. But at that time, I only had 4 still, you know?
Dave's obviously found a lot of fish in this creek, but right now these fish are biting the bait funny. He says they're crushing it and swimming right at him. He's had 2 great fish on, and he's lost both of them in this quarter. Fish on.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
Oh, get in here.
Limit the boat for Dave Lefebre, and that's another good fish.
It's hard when you're thinking about not swinging them down there on the floor. If you hit that floor first, you get a penalty.
It took him till 30 minutes remaining in his quarter, but Dave Lefebre's put a great bass in the boat. That is number 5. Bryan Thrift is gonna have to work in the 4th, man.
The 3rd quarter, Dave went back to the mud creek. He goes back in there. He's flipping his jig on mud again. But I notice he doesn't get near as many bites and the quality's down a lot. So that tells me that those fish that are up there, they're either spawning or they're looking for a place to spawn. They're up there doing something. It's not replenishing. And that kind of made me feel good a little bit about it. I mean, it made me feel like I had a fighting chance.
That's the end of that period.
Oh, I thought I had a couple more seconds. I mean, every cast counts. I got a stump right here. I was waiting until that 1-minute warning and I didn't get it, so I'm a little kind of bummed about that. But that's the way it goes. I thought I had a minute and I had 10 seconds. That's okay, Randolph.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter, and Dave Lefebre has a commanding lead. The number 2 rated angler in the world, Bryan Thrift, is going to try and make up some ground and go to the finals.
Lefebre, he's got jokes.
All right, drop her in gear and I'll start her.
Starting the 4th quarter, I made about a 20-25 minute run down to some fish I found yesterday, and they were big fish. I knew I had to try it, because if they would have been there, it would have been game over in 3 casts, and we could have called the match, and everybody went home and ate Cheetos.
We can deal with misty rain.
But also, by running down there, I'm near the area that I caught them in me and Boyd Duckett's match. So I know I've got kind of somewhat of a plan B that's close.
Fish on.
I think it's a spot.
Oh, it is. It's a mean mouth. Nice job, bud. It is, too.
It is, indeed.
It's a spotted bass, and it will be a keeper.
I tried to fish, like, staying focused, never feeling like I was out of it. I mean, we're here on Lake Chickamauga. The next cast could be an 8-pounder anywhere on this lake.
Fish on. Big one, front of the boat, Bryan Thrift.
You know, one good bite and I'm right back in this thing. You know, I'm about to take over the lead with one big fish.
You never think you're safe.
And we're here on Lake Chickamauga. The next cast could be an 8-pounder anywhere on this lake.
I like being stressed out to the max. Thank you.
With just under 30 minutes remaining in this match, I have to believe that this is Bryan Thrift's final stop. I say it time and time again, ultimate match fishing, it's all about strategy, and Bryan Thrift held this spot till last. The question is, did he wait too long? Fish on. Big one, front of the boat, Bryan Thrift. Bryan Thrift just made up a lot of ground right there. That's a 3.5-pound bass at least.
I pull back there on my plan B spot, pick my jig up, flipping a tree. About the third or fourth cast, I catch a good one, 3.5 pounder, and that gives me 4. So I'm thinking, you know, I've got 20-something minutes, you know, this can happen.
Fish on front of the boat. Keeper number 5 for Bryan Thrift.
Maybe.
Bumps.
Going down the bank, catch another keeper, bam, 5 minutes later. You know, it's looking pretty good, and I'm looking down the bank, and I've got 150 yards left of rocks and mud and laydowns and docks. And
Fish on.
I think it's a fish. Yeah.
Can't tell how big it is. It's a good one. This is definitely going to call that spot.
Barely.
Big bass. Man, this match just got close as it can be.
like the third cast, catch another 3-pounder. Coil a little bitty when I caught, thinking, you know, I've had 4 bites in 30 yards, you know, so should get 3 or 4 more.
All right, Ref, I need you to stop me about 12 minutes.
If you're anything like me, you're doing a lot of math in your head right now. This match went from being this close to this close, and we still have 15 minutes remaining.
It's the little things in the sport that separate, you know, guys like him from the rest of the field. And, you know, not to be rude, but I just wanted to stare at him all day when I'm back there. There's things that go on, you don't know what they are until you really focus. And those are the things that happen in between times that you don't get to see on TV. But unfortunately, I had to fish behind him, so I was looking the other way most of the time.
Can't compete with Dave on the mud bite. That's the end of the match.
Oh, it's gonna be close, brother.
Oh, man, I don't think it's as close as we think it is. Good job, Dave.
That's the end of a hard-fought match that went down to the final few minutes. Let's take it back to Blue Water Lodge right now and find out who will advance to our Ultimate Match Fishing Championship against Larry Nixon. This morning we started this semifinal match with cloudy skies, warm temperatures, and fish from whistle to whistle. This match between these two guys was amazing.
They're awesome, Joe. It was a pleasure watching both of you. Thank you for the education today on Lake Chickamauga. But let me tell you, it was close, Joe, and there were a ton of fish caught.
You don't really realize how close it was. It was 1 3/4 pounds separated you guys. You played the game amazingly. You lost 11 minutes this morning on the sandbar, and you left them biting this afternoon when the final whistle blew. And I think, Bryan Thrift, that's going to be the factor that sends you packing, because Dave Lefebre, you are going to advance to our championship round with a 15.82 total. Not only that, you're going to win our Strike King Big Bass Award. Remember, $500 is going to be donated this week in your name to the Catch a Dream Foundation. Dave, you are our champion today, and you're going to advance to the final round. Congratulations.
Yeah, I've done it.
Hey, let's take it over to my co-host, Fish Fishburne. He's with Dave Lefebre right now for this week's Frog Togs Match-Changing Moment.
This week's match-changing moment is presented by Frog Togs, designed for you, created for the outdoors.
There was a moment, and it changed the match. It was a big bass. There were seconds left, and you got hooked. Tell us about it.
Man, I don't know what happened right there. That was crazy. One minute I'm fishing, next minute I'm snagged in the leg. Cameraman falls backwards, breaks a rod. Craziest 30 seconds I've ever seen in my life.
But it worked, and you win the match.
Yeah, it was good.
What it's all about. Congratulations, Dave.
I'm Joe Thomas. Thanks for watching, and make sure you tune in next week for our Ultimate Match Fishing Finals between Dave Lefebre and Larry Nixon. That's next week on Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing.
Stretchy pants.
These are too, feel them. They're not as stretchy as the other ones.
I like those.
It's just like pajamas.
Yeah.
And I sleep in them.
Oh my God.
I get dressed the night before.
Really?
Sleep in my
NoChafe.org.
jersey.
We can join you at NoChafe.org.